In our society, there's a great need for dietary supplements that will improve the cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in the United States, and most of you, and certainly I have been affected in my life by losing loved ones that suffered from cardiovascular disease.
The fact is, we just do not outlive our cardiovascular system. By taking responsibility early on, we can maintain the strength of that system and prevent the expense that we would occur later in our lives. We'll work our entire lives accumulating wealth, and we will spend almost all of it in those last few months and weeks of life.
Personally, I believe that we do not need to be victims of our genetic disposition, nor are the hereditary environment in which we live, because we can compensate for many of those deficiencies by the use of dietary supplements that strengthen our systems, such as the cardiovascular system.
In research and development, when we design a product to meet a need. And the need that we're looking at here is the need to maintain our cardiovascular systems.
I think most of us are familiar with the fact that the heart is a muscle. As one muscle we better pay attention to, because this is one we cannot neglect.
The dependence of the cardiovascular system on good nutrition is well documented, and only recently the dependence of the cardiovascular system on a well-balanced immune system has become a point of fact. It's no longer debated anymore. Here's what the research has demonstrated. In an immune system that doesn't react rapidly and appropriately, bacteria and viruses that have found their way into the bloodstream may become embedded in the arterial walls, initiating an inflammation in the artery. This inflammation attracts the LDL, or so-called bad cholesterol, which becomes oxidized in the lesion, aggravating the inflammatory response. The body responds by sending macrophages to clean out the oxidized LDL debris in the inflammation. As these macrophages engulf the oxidized LDL, they grow in size, causing further swelling. In attempting to clear out the oxidized LDL, these macrophages actually aggravate the condition, making a bad situation even worse. Meanwhile, if the body's immune cells haven't been sensitized to these bacteria and viruses, they go unknowingly on their way, unaware of the growing problem in the arterial wall. The role of transfer factor is to support the immune system by improving its ability to recognize and react to foreign invaders. In this case, transfer factors help the body's immune cells recognize and eliminate the invader. Once the bacteria or virus has been dealt with, it's time for the immune system's suppressor cells to deal with the excessive inflammatory response. Transfer factor supports these suppressor cells, and healthy suppressor cells in turn enable the body to control the inflammation. Once the inflammation is controlled, the arterial wall is free to repair itself and recover its normal function. We've heard, eating a baby aspirin a day would help people with heart disease. Well, why is that? What is it about aspirin that would protect our heart? Well, the answer there again is inflammation. Aspirin reduces inflammation by affecting various mechanisms within the body, but it doesn't really help the body to become strong by itself. The use of an aspirin is an external influence on the immune system, on the inflammatory response to weaken.
Now there are certain bacteria that are implicated in the inflammation process, and the transfer factors help to tune the immune system and target them to help defend and improve our adaptation in these areas of concern.
We strengthen and support the heart in its metabolic function so that it can pump strongly. We strengthen and support the arteries and blood vessels by maintaining their integrity through various antioxidants and other means. We also strengthen the immune system so that the immune system will be able to respond to infections early and then back off, so that that inflammatory response now does not continue to damage the arteries or blood vessels throughout our body. Transfer factor is an ancient form of immune communication, so ancient that in fact it is found in some of the earliest and most primitive forms of life. And so wherever you find an immune system, you find transfer factor. It's a communication molecule within the immune system. And as you look at that product, we have targeted the entire immune system. Now we're talking about a little different design. In these nutritionals, what we're doing is we're looking at those things that are specific to the heart and how the immune system responds in that particular organ of the body.
What 4Life is doing is creating a new form of transfer factor. That form comes from chickens, and the health of chickens is managed in a unique way to create what is called targeted transfer factor.
Because transfer factor is transfer factor is transfer factor, it doesn't matter whether it's isolated from the hen or it's isolated from the cow. Both are equally good transfer factors. The transfer factors that work in the chicken can be used in the cow, can be used in the human, can be used across all species. So again, there's some major advantages here that we can do.
It's an exciting new way to produce transfer factors because we can do it in a very managed and controlled way so that we can enhance the benefit that can be derived from transfer factors. That's why we call it targeted transfer factor.
And so who should take it? Anyone who has a concern. And who is that? Actually, for us as Americans, all of us will come to a point in our life where our concern for our cardiovascular system